Tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know what I'm here to do? I'm here to. Okay. Oh man. Oh man.
It never gets him.
Weak sauce. Guys, welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Hat. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to rock. Join me as always. It's my good friend and yours, Xavier Guerrero.
What's up?
A Mexican lost in the land of Armenians, everybody. How's your Armenian going? Are you learning any words?
Habibi?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, apparently someone's eating chicken kebab somewhere. And then on the ones into straight in the forest, first man to ever do a podcast out of the forest. Jay Nice, Johnny Woodard.
No, I think Owen Benjamin beat me to that by.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah, look at you, dude. Look at you. You look like the accountant for the forest. Right?
What? I have my glasses on. What is that? That's
Johnny,
not
you
cool.
look seductive with no glasses on. Is that how you got your lady?
Actually, you know what's funny? Dude, the last time I was home, I was wearing this hat and driving a truck to go pick up some firewood. And this guy just walks up to me in the store and starts talking to me about hunting. Like, hey, boy, them bucks are really running, aren't they? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, you should have kept going and see how long you get it going.
I do not look like an accountant. I look like a hunter.
You look like a nice metrosexual hunter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you go out with your eyebrows done proper.
Like I hold the deer's hoof as it's expiring, and just kind of stroke it.
You're cleaning its hoof as it's going.
Yeah,
You're giving it a pedicure.
Exactly.
That's how it is.
Exactly.
Guys, podcast. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys enjoyed spending time with your family. I always feel bad for Thanksgiving because it always gets jumped by Christmas. I find it offensive. And maybe if we respected Thanksgiving, those people in Wisconsin wouldn't be at a parade before Thanksgiving. Am I right, everybody?
I don't know what that means.
Well, they were doing a Christmas parade in Wisconsin before where the guy drove through the parade and hit people.
Don't know.
No.
You never heard? You didn't see that?
No. I've been traveling,
wow.
dude. I haven't. Was that recent?
Wow, Johnny. Wow.
I told you. I pull out. I pull out, brother.
Johnny, now we know why you don't have any kids, huh? Your lady excited about that? Johnny, she ever try to hold your ass down and you just fight to get out? She's like, give me it. Guys, if you want to see me live, I'm going to be in San Diego, December 2nd through the 4th. I'm at the American Comedy Company. The Cash Daddies will all be there, so come hang out, get weird. It's gonna be a fun weekend. And then on the 11th, I'm in at Side Splitters in Tampa. That's gonna be a fun show. I'm gonna see who I'm gonna have come out and perform with me. Should be a good time. Who else do I have? What else do I got? That's about it. But I'm telling you guys, 2022 Hammer of the Gods tour is coming, and it's gonna be a killer. And I'm super excited. And the dates are coming in. We're talking Buffalo, January 12th. Let me see real quick. I believe it's not in the books yet, but it's not in the books yet, but it looks like I'm going to be at Buffalo the 13th through the 15th. I'm going to be there. And then more and more dates come in Chicago, Colorado, South Carolina. All those things are all coming. And
Where are you playing, South Carolina?
We're working on that right now.
Okay.
We're working on that right now. But
Cool,
dates
cool.
be coming. Guys, go to samtripoli.com for all my dates. You can also go there. Look at that right there. You just click the link. It takes you right to tinfoilhattshirts.com. That's tinfoilhattshirts.com. Look at that. The anti-vax Vax Club. Look at that. Look at that. That shirt is flying off the shelves. Disobey. It's all there, dude. And I have a new Rage Against Machine shirt I'm working. So it should be fun. Only conspiracies for you and your friends right there. Those are great gifts for the children, by the way. Only conspiracies, great gifts for the children. Go support that. And you know, we have a bunch of premium content, Rockfin, ROKFIN.com. And you just go there, you put in /0, tinfoil hat, conspiracy social club, broken simulation. We don't smoke the same. Whoever, whenever, just come enjoy. $10, you get all of the content there. And everybody's making good money there. Everybody's making good money on that. Look at that. 26,000. It's unbelievable. Look at that. I'm showing him digital cigarettes. I'm showing Brian Kell my Krav Maga moves because I'm a professional. I kill with my hands. So go check that out. That's ROKFIN.com. I'm putting out tons of free content. If you go to samtripoli.com, again, just go to samtripoli.com and you go to the middle, go down, it will list all of my free content that is out there. Keep going down. There we go. Look at that. Right up. Nope. Up. Tinfoil hat. Broken Sim. Cash Daddies. Punch Drunk. Zero. Conspiracy Social Club. And Union of the Unwanted. All free audio for you to consume. And guess what? If you go click the banner and take you there, you got a 24-hour radio station if you want to hear me all the time. All of my podcasts are there. You can listen to any of them 24 hours a day. Let me get in your head. Oh, yeah, a couple things. I am looking to spend some money to animate my special. I'm taking, pitch me your animation. I'm looking for a certain style to animate. If I get hit up by a bunch of people, I'll pick the ones I have a certain look I'm going for. So if you want to email samtripolilive@gmail, send me if you're an animator and you want to animate and you want to make a little loot. I have a certain budget I'm going to go to. Send me your animation. We can make a deal. Let's do it. I'm going to do that. And then I'm looking for artists as well. If you're an artist, a sketch artist, anything like that, hit me up on samtripoli.com. Looking for more art for some of my for my special and my audio of my special to be put on Apple Podcasts. Guys, anything else? samtripolilive@gmail. Just send me something there. Anything else, guys?
Not for me.
Smoke the Same has an Eventbrite show. You can go to eventbrite.com. We don't Thanksgiving the Same, and it's pretty much almost sold out. So if there's tickets, head over there, but don't miss out.
We don't smoke the same.
Thanksgiving the Same.
Okay, you're really fucking this up. Let's go. We don't smoke. Okay.
Shut up. We'll be right there. There you go, right?
We don't Thanksgiving the same. All right, yeah, just go click it and get to see XG live.
Steph Combs will be there live, so you might be able to get a guitar pick or one of his albums signed. So maybe don't go for me, but go for him.
Oh, go for Xavier. Go for Xavier. Go see him. Okay, go check it out. It's gonna be a great show. Xavier always puts on a great show. So yeah, go support XG and everybody at We Don't Smoke the Same. All right, guys, thanks so much. This is a great podcast, and it's about becoming sovereign. A lot of crazy stuff about computers, lizard people, and how to break out of the system. Enjoy this episode. It's a banger.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm really excited to have this gentleman on Tinfoil Hat. He already did my Zero show, and so he crushed it so hard on that. I decided to bring him on to the big show because he had some very interesting things to talk about. And I'm very excited to get into a certain topic, but we'll get into what we're going to talk about in 2 seconds. Man, where do we start with this guy? He's like, he went to college in 6th grade. He was doing psychedelics early. He's got a black belt and everything. I'm so super excited to have him on the big show. My friend, and soon to be yours, JT Grenfell. How are you, buddy?
I'm chilling, very humbled to be here with with the tinfoil hat. I am part of the swarm, so this is a huge honor for me, and I'm glad you guys have me part of the show.
JT, I'm super excited to have you on. You have a really great backstory, and there's a lot of stuff I want to get into with you. One of it's about nationalism, but for those who didn't hear you on my other show, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Just like everybody else, just lost in the matrix, trying to find my way. But early on in life, I was blessed to go to college instead of regular school at 6th grade. And, the genius kid on the Doogie Howser track, and ended up some kids. They weren't weirdos. They were cool kids. They took me to a rave, and I did some psychedelics, and I realized that the world's been lying to me as a 12-year-old about everything, including Santa. And I just wanted to go against the grain, like, oh, you guys told me to do this, I've been doing it, turns out you guys are lying, so I'm gonna do everything you told me I shouldn't do. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna go hard in the paint. I'm gonna be a thug. I'm gonna walk these streets. I'm gonna be everything you told me not to be. And that was its own chapters in my life. And then I decided to go back and pursue school. I got my master's in math, very left side brain, and did yoga, do jujitsu, keep a balanced life. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, I've swallowed so much pills and black pill that, like, what do you do? What do you do? And I'm at the point of, like, I'm sick of hearing, as well as pretty much everyone, just the fear mongering. And it's like, what can you do actually to, like, step out of this WWE arena that they've created and be free and on your own? And that's like the white pill, like, learn to garden and have some self-discipline, and create a tribe and create your own ship, your own vessel, make your own flag, become your own nation. And then you're out of the WWE arena, and none of their distractions, the double D's, right? The distraction, the division, none of that matters. They like throwing in death, but division, distraction, that's like their butter. They can't think of new tactics. So it's like, how do you get rid of that? You get out of the arena, you go and live on your own, and you be part of your tribe that you create. And that's where I'm at now in life.
So much to get into there. But yeah, man, everything you're talking about is, I think, a battle that every single one of us is, like, really going through right now. And it's like letting go of the dying system and getting into creating a new system. And that's so hard for so many to do, because it is painful. It's like to completely start over, to grow something from scratch. It's not easy. Everything else, the other way, just to go along is the easiest way to go. Conformity is so easy at first. When you conform, you follow the rules, you do what you're told, and you conform. And then I just keep finding that everybody who conforms tends to get just herded and corralled into this thing, and it just always ends in misery. It always ends in misery, people being stuck in jobs, in positions in their life where they aren't happy, they aren't working their full potential, and they're just kind of hit a ceiling. And to go the other way is always harder, usually takes much longer. But when you get to, where you want to go, everything tastes better, feels better, smells better. And it's just a wonderful place to be. But it is really hard. And so what I like to do when I leave my house, I like to leave out motivational videos for my dogs on YouTube. There'll be like a 2-hour motivational video. And, occasionally I like to work out to those, because it's just, I don't know why, I just like to jump on my bike in my living room and just watch them. And, they always say the same thing, man. Is that like so much of people's lack of desire or their ability to change their life all stems from fear. It's all fear. People are afraid to risk. They would rather live in mediocrity than possibly fail trying to achieve this ultimate goal of living their dreams. And it's really crazy how much that fear will really control your desire to take a chance in life. And I totally relate to everything you were just talking about, except for the part where you were like 6 and doing mushrooms. That part I don't really remember. I was very advanced in other things, but imagine if you were a freshman in school and your friend is like a 6-year-old. And you're like, I mean, we're all freshmen here. We're doing shrooms. What do we do? Do we give this kid shrooms?
That's funny.
It's crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Four Sigmatic, a company known for their innovative use of functional ingredients to enhance your performance, okay? Lately, I've been having Four Sigmatic Performance Coffee in the morning. It is infused with lion mane for focus and cordyceps for performance. And this stuff is legit, okay? I'm more productive, focused, and more energetic, and I feel like I'm on top of my game. I bring the hammer of the gods because of this coffee, okay? You can also use this as a pre-workout, okay? Before you're going to go to gym, before you're going to get on a hike, before you're going to drop the hammer of the gods on your lady, okay? You need endurance to hit harder, pound harder, make her love you more. Guess what? It's real simple. For Sigmatic Performance Coffee. No jittery feeling, easier on the gut, just pure focus, okay? It's real simple. So you're probably wondering, does it taste like mushrooms? Nope. The flavor is rich and smooth, and it's the perfect cup of coffee with additional benefits, okay? They've got over 30,000 5-star reviews. That's a lot of 5-star reviews. And best of all, Four Sigmatic backs their product with a 100% money back guarantee. Love it or it's free. So this is what we're going to do. Listen, guys, I've worked on exclusive offer with Four Sigmatic for you, the Swarm, okay? This is it. For the Swarm listeners, save 20% on your first order on Four Sigmatic website. To claim this deal, just go to foursigmatic.com/tinfoil and use the coupon code tinfoil at checkout. Again, this code is only for the Tinfoil Hat listeners, aka the Swarm. So please don't share with anyone. You'll save 20% off whatever you want. So go right now to foursigmatic.com/tinfoil and use the code tinfoil to supercharge your performance. You know, we really got into some great stuff when you were on the other show, but what do you want to get into, man? Because I want to get into the nationalist stuff, but I know you have a couple other things you'd like to talk about, but where would you like to start?
Kind of like where the WWE Arena like stems from and why so many people are in this like fear-driven, mediocre type of conformity. Like, at least in my, from the research I've done, I've spent many years. I was blessed with a few years of my life to just study like deeply, like 40, 50, 60 hours a week of this like occult and, all the stuff people love about your show. Like that's what I got into for a long time. And I've been, as a kid, I've been prone, or they've called me like intelligent, and I was always successful in terms of like logic and mind games and puzzles and just like tedious math driven things like that. So when I listen to your show and I hear these people come in and they're experts on these pieces of the puzzle, and I listen to them very open-minded, and I take everything they say into consideration. I put them on my detective board to review later on. And those pieces are so important, like to Taria, to NASA, to whatever, like everything is so important, but the piece is so detailed that it's like you have to spend a lifetime creating that piece. And so for me, my gift is to listen to all these people, to read all the books, listen to the podcast, and then put all these pieces together where most people can't fit the pieces together. They're just too stuck on their one piece. And this stems back to like occult practices. And for those who, if you're listening to this show, you know very well that like the occult practice is driven in mainstream Hollyweirdness, all these parties, the owls, that they're like all the symbolisms there. So it's been going on for quite some time, probably since, whenever, like history's been rewritten since Tartaria. But since then, this occult thing, I personally, from what I've found, is that these lizard people, like we never, like in the hood, we never refer to enemies by their actual name. We like, you got to disrespect them, you know what I mean? You can never call them the R word. So these lizard people have been talking to other beings here. We're all electric energetic antennas, and we receive insight through the firmament. And so these reptilians have been talking to people. I just said the R word. These lizard people have been talking to these people forever. So the main goal was to get a 4D consciousness here on this 3D petri dish. Like, how do we get 4D consciousness? That's why you see the shape shifting, because you can't, as a 4D, hold a 3D form. So the idea is like, how do we get 4D to be here in 3D for a longer period of time? Because there's a lot of miscommunication when they're sending the messages. Human beings are like messing it up. They have greed, they have fear, they have their own driven like goals. So it gets misinterpreted. So the lizard people are getting upset. So it's like, we need to get a consciousness there all the time. Thus, if any of the listeners have ever researched T1 Project, please like email me later, because this is the one thing that I have found completely erased from the internet. And the internet normally doesn't do that. Like YouTube has banned a lot of stuff, but if you look deep enough, you can still find old videos, and the internet's littered with old knowledge. But for some reason, the T1 Project's completely gone. It stems from World War II. It had to do with like Operation High Jump, the Antarctica, Brazil, like Europe. It had everything to do. It was part of all of that. And basically the goal was to get a Tilly's consciousness, a lizard person's consciousness, into a computer, because that way they could hold consciousness here. They won't hold a form. They could be here, and now they won't be lost in interpretation between the occult weirdos and them. So
when you say lizard people, what are we talking about? Are these, because forever I've always been like, these are low frequency beings. And the more and more I study this stuff, the more and more I believe that they're stuck here, and they want to get out. Like, I'm starting to more and more think this is like a prison planet type situation, and that there's entities that are stuck here and they can't get out. And I think they figured out a way to like take out our soul, put their soul in, and try to ascend or something like that. I'm still working that out in my head. But when you say lizard people, are we talking, just for point of reference, low frequency or high frequency or any of that stuff?
Yeah, right on, like exactly what you're saying. This is they're low frequency. They envy human beings. Reptilians can't create, they can only manipulate. So if you give them like a third grade drawing, or a first grader draws like a farmhouse and you give it to a reptilian will make that a Picasso type thing, but they can't themselves create anything. So they're very envious of us, and they are low frequency. And basically from what I've gathered is like, human beings give off energy. These low frequency beings thrive on negative energy. That's why there's poverty, that's why there's famine, that's why there's wars, that's why there's drug abuse. I mean, all those things are there, but there's so much of it, and they get high on that. So it's kind of like a weed shop. Like, you have plants, it only needs like light and oxygen and water, but if you start adding PGR and all this other crazy weird shit to the soil, you're going to get some fucking 30% close to Oxycontin fucking shit that gets you to be a drug addict. So they do the same shit. They like infiltrate people for small period of time, because as a 4D low frequency being, you can't control a 3D person forever unless you're like bred into that. That's like the whole family shit. That's why they are so close to who they breed with, because their antennas are lined up to hold that frequency for longer. Anybody susceptible to being attacked and being overridden for a small period of time. That's why it's important to clean your house. If your house inside is clean and you align your body and you clean dust and open the windows, nothing from the outside world can affect you. Like there's like Katona yoga, like people look into that. That's you clean the inside of your house. That way these entities can't come and distract you, but they are here. It was a peaceful petri dish, but they're here and they get high on us. So they, these families create war. Like there's always war. There's always people dying. There's always people suffering. And if like I know, like that doesn't have to be like, there's too much love. It doesn't have to be. There's too much love and light going around for that to be. So kind of that's who I'm referring to is these archons, the specific archons of these beings that do that to us. That
it's very interesting. Xavier Guerrero does not clean his place. He just moves and gets a new place. Just goes to different areas of Los Angeles so they don't know. And then he just waits till the place gets messy and he moves somewhere else. At this point, he's vibrating in Glendale.
I used to do that with dishes. I would just I would get dishes, those cheap dishes from like IKEA and throw them away. I can throw them away.
Paper plates.
Do it all the time.
Paper plates.
Paper plates is where it's at. So let's get back into the T1 project. What is the T1 project?
So they want to bring the consciousness into the petri dish full time. So it's basically like I use a lot of analogies because this is abstract. So analogies help me to kind of see it a little better in our 3D perspective. So imagine you have a restaurant and you're the manager, but you live out of state. Your restaurant's going to be a mess. The back house, the front house, they're all going to be a mess because you're calling in once a week or you're emailing people and there's a time zone difference. So your restaurant's turned into like the trap house because you're never there and now they're serving dope out the back. You know what I mean? And like it's a mess. So you eventually have to move to within vicinity that you can control your restaurant. So the same idea, these lizard people are like, how do we get there? And the king Pindar's like, well, I'm not going to go because I rule my kingdom or wherever it is or whatever the thing they do is. And he's not going to send his best mate because he's just going to come and become Pindar of here. So the next best thing to do is send your queen. You know what I mean? She's not talked about a lot, but behind every great king is a great queen. We all know that, or you know what I mean? So the queen is willing to sacrifice. She gets sent in. So if you look at the timeline from World War II it's very scattered, the occult attacks. It's like they're there, they're talking to them, they're doing them, they're kind of bumbled. But within 70 years of the T1 project being a success, 70 years, they got people taking an experimental occult shot. Like that in 70 years, everyone has a cell phone, everyone's tracked. Like in 70 years, this happened. Like right away when
there is a lot to that. There is a lot to it.
After Tartaria, it's like all like very slow, the progress, the scattering, the mud floods, everything is like very slow. Then World War II ends, super distraction points of like Hitler and the Holocaust. And I'm not saying none of that's right or wrong or real or whatever. I'm saying there's so many points to it that people overlook, like one of the big ones, which is bringing this consciousness in. And that's why, and I know Sammy has talked about it too, of like the humor here that we see in these 70 years is very female. Like I'm very male, female, like left side, right side, paternal, maternal, moon, sun. And this is very like female humor. Like it's very bitchy. Like it's very like, what that a dude wouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
Well, is it that female comedy and that its boyfriend really writes it and then it goes on stage and does the comedy? That was an inside joke. That's an inside joke. Hey, everybody, I want to tell you about our friends at Green Chef. Listen, I just had a physical and guess what? I'm in tip-top shape, but I could lose a couple pounds. And that's going to start with me eating a more balanced diet, a more balanced meals. And that's where Green Chef comes in. Okay. Green Chef. All right. Has a meal plan for every lifestyle. Doesn't matter what you're looking to eat. Green Chef has it. Okay. It's better than ever. Green Chef experts curate every recipe with over 30 meal choices every week and the flexibility to switch plans. You'll never have to sacrifice taste for nutrition. All right. You can enjoy restaurant quality dishes in the comfort of your own home. Enjoy new nutritious recipes each week that are perfect for you and the whole family. Guys, I love these meal plans. I love them, dude. They're lifesavers. And guess what? They help you eat better, okay? And they show you how to prepare the food. It's real easy and it's real fun. And guess what? I learned how to cook doing this, all right? I learned how to cook by using these meal preps that they put together, okay? It's real good. Green Chef is the first USDA certified organic meal kit, so you can enjoy hand-picked organic veggies, premium proteins without having to worry about where they came from, okay? So, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong. They send you the ingredients, you cook it, you put it together, and man, bang, you're eating great.
Yeah,
and you're
pre-portioned. They're easy to follow recipes, and they deliver them right to your door. Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's amazing, guys. I use it. I ordered it. It's coming in. I've used them before. It's really great. And I think it's important that you know, as much as you love consuming tinfoil hat, you need to consume good stuff when you eat, because that's how you're going to get to a higher vibration. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to greenchef.com/tinfoil125. Use the code tinfoil125 to get $125 off, including free shipping. That's go to greenchef.com/tinfoil125 and use the code tinfoil125, tinfoil125 to get $125 off, including free shipping. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. I totally agree with you. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. It is of my belief. If you're asking me why I believe, I don't believe the Nazis lost World War II. I think Germany lost World War II. They were like a host parasite, 100. And that they left here. They went all over the place. Russia, so what do we hear all the time? What do we hear? We hear that the United States and Russia and England all worked together and defeated the Nazis. And then what they do, they had an expansion draft and they picked their favorite ones. Well, that's interesting. But what is it possible that those countries actually lost the war and that those Nazis walked over and just kind of took over?
100, because now that she's here, she can actually, there's no more lost communication. So right away, it's like, okay, send all our people. We never lost, like you said.
Who is she? Does she have a name, by the way? The
queen? I don't know. The queen, I guess. Like the queen, I'm not sure. I don't want to give her too much power.
Pindar, in your humble opinion, do you think Pindar is the 8-foot albino lizard that lives in the Middle Earth? Which is what Johnny always talks about.
I don't know about Middle Earth. I maybe like a petri dish below our petri dish. I feel is
low level.
Yeah, like another petri dish below. Because if you look at chakra work, the Earth primarily like land where we live is green forest, unless they're destroying it, which is green, which is the heart chakra, and then the sky during the day is blue. So that's the throat chakra. So those are in order. So logically, ideally, I believe there would be more petri dishes above and below, and we're resonating in between the heart and throat chakra ones. So
I totally believe in all that. I think there's multiple dimensions. I think this dimension, I think the 4th dimension is something that is between us and a 5th dimension, and it's very controlling of us. And it is stopping us from ascending, though I do believe we are now, even though things seem as crazy as possible right now, we are ascending. And it's getting it's clanky and it's painful. But this is what happens when you leave a dying system and you go to a new system. And this is the nature of growth, is it could be painful, right? And this is kind of what we're doing. And all is being revealed right now, without a doubt. I mean, this Joy Reid, this chick on MSNBC just saying dumb stuff over and over again. And it's so obvious right now. And like, everyone's like, what? And it's just like, people are waking up left and right. And they got a real problem. Now, I was doing some research. There is a chance Bitcoin is CIA. There is some talk that Bitcoin, that Nagasaki Yakamura, whatever his name is, Satoshi Nakamura, is Japanese for Central Intelligence. Have you ever looked that up? There's a word on that. So
Interesting.
things are changing though, but even something they could start seems to be getting away from, in my humble opinion. And it is opening great new avenues for people to break out from the old system into the new system. And my humble opinion is that the people who are running stuff right now, these low frequent entities, have been kind of in charge since the late 1600s. And they've had a 500-year run. And it's coming to an end. And their families aren't as smart as they used to be. That's why they got to bring in new blood all the time, like Larry Fink. He's got to come in with his ideas because from BlackRock, because these old families, the children of the rich tend to be retarded, right? I mean, let's face it, dude, right?
Yes.
I mean, like they're telling us that people like Paris Hilton are going to run the world. Like, Paris Hilton, right? He's going to run. What?
Hunter Biden, the guy that forgets.
Hunter. But I mean, like, really, like, look at all these kids of these like super wealthy, super powerful people. They're all idiots.
Well, yeah, and you would think that would tell us something about them, because they were responsible for them as children.
100%.
And we never judge them by their children. They say the sins of the father shouldn't, condemn the child, but the sins of the child maybe should condemn the parent. Let's be honest.
That's a great point. And I talk about all the time because, when you talk about karma, right? And they're like, well, where's Dick Cheney's karma? Well, look at his kids, right? I mean, it's just the truth. Look at the kids. These people were so hell bent on destroying everything and getting all the power and all the money, they neglected their children. And, listen, I have no problems with the kids unless they get in the family business. And then you become just as much scumbags as, like, what's her face from Morning Joe, right? Minka, whatever her name is. Her father was a notorious neocon scumbag war criminal. And his daughter got into the business of manipulating and using propaganda against the masses to allow the military industrial complex to do what they got to do. I condemn you. Nick Kroll's an interesting discussion because, it's very funny that on the show, The League, when it comes to 9/11, that Steve Renazizi is the one that gets all the shit. Like, to me, that's really fucking interesting. Because if you study Nick Kroll's dad and brother, there's some shady shit that went down on that. They just happened not to show up to work that day. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But it is, it's like, it's a very murky thing. But I'm telling you, karma and all that shit. So going back to what you guys were saying right here is we're living in very interesting times and we're waking up to it more and more and more. But the reason I went on this ridiculous rant, is that I do believe that the Nazis, look at Russia. Russia happens, right? Boom. All of a sudden, they go into the Stalin goes in and, quote unquote, battles the Nazis. And then just Mother Russia goes to shit. It just goes to shit. After they get all these Nazis, right? The United States, you can pinpoint dark arts starts happening right around the end of World War II, where we bring in these Nazi scientists and all these Nazis, and the CIA starts to take over, and bam, the assassination of JFK happens. And look where we are now, the George Bush death cult, which is on both sides of the party. We see pedophilia on both sides of the party. Dark arts, Zionism, communism, Zionism is all rotting through our government with these George Bush death cult politicians. And it's like, there's something really to that, man.
100%. I agree with you. I don't think they lost. So right after they get the consciousness, she tells and she does little, I'm going to send you here, here, here. They go to Japan, they go to South America, they come to the Americas, they go to Europe. They send all their high level players out there and they start doing, their little evil deeds and just follow the timeline. Like it gets so aggressive from World War II to where we are here. So if you are like, if I was her and I've been like a psychopathic, narcissistic weirdo before in my life, so I kind of get like where like most people I don't think have ever been in the streets to where it gets ugly, you know what I mean? And you become a different person to survive. And you need that type of perspective when you talk about these low frequency people. Like if you radiate high, how you ever going to know what it's like for these scumbags? Like, no, I'm not a scumbag, but I mean, I've associated with the kind, and I know that if I was her, I would try to control everything. So right off the bat, it's like, I'm running on an 8-bit Atari thing in World War II, like build me a supercomputer in Simi Valley, then ship me to China, like build me supercomputers that run at some weird temperature that I can literally really progress my thoughts and my actions and manifest my reality here. And then on top of it, I want all these human beings to have cell phones, everybody, even in all parts of the world.
Okay,
I want
so you're dropping some hammer right here. Let's explain what I believe you're trying to express, and that is that almost like AI and these supercomputers are the vessels in which this entity is working through. Is that what I'm kind of getting from this?
Yeah, for sure. So once she gets here, they start running AI because she can't do everything at once, right? You need, like, if you're the manager, you have assistant manager, you have a lead shift, you have a night shift. Here we are back to the restaurant. You need all these other people. And then you have your servers, your busboys, your cooks and all that. But you need like to kind of delegate your, what you need to do and get done. So that's where she starts building the AI stuff.
Do you think computers are part of this spreading of her what's the word, her initiative?
Yeah, for sure. Because like they've talked about on your show, like transhumanism, the next astrology sign is going to usher in a new religion, and you're looking at transhumanism. And the World's Fair in Moscow just talked heavily on IA and mechanics and body parts being mechanical and consciousness and computers. So that was, the goal is eventually to clone people, not like in the essence, but to keep, like, if they know everything about you and how you operate,
that's
and move,
real interesting, dude.
They could make a little own petri dish, and then they can get high all day long. Like, look at us, like as humans, we don't care if the weed came from outdoors nature or if it came from some laboratory with a bunch of dirt bags vacuuming spider mites out of it. Like, no one gives a shit. Like, they're getting high on it. So the lizard people are the same. They're like, okay, right now this petri dish is dope. All these people are hungry and killing each other. They give us a good high, but what if it disappears? Like, let's make our own little petri dish. And how do we do that? We make all these beings, all these little antennas. We mimic them at some extent. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect replicas. They just have to kind of operate and move as the same way as each unique individual being. And now we are in 2022, and they've been pushing it. Like, the thing is, they've built this, I refer to it as the WWE Arena. I know Johnny likes to say the wrestlers and the WWE, and it's all a show. You're in, the minute you're born, if you're in at least the US, I don't know about other countries, there's too many puzzle pieces to go to other countries, but for the US, the minute you're born, your mom signs, what does she sign? She signs a deed of trust contract right away. That's your live birth certificate. She sends that, she signs that, the hospital gets it. The hospital sends that to the state. The state reissues a birth certificate. So no longer a live birth certificate. The state reissues a birth certificate to the Department of Commerce. So now once that happens, you are legally tied into the WWE Arena. When you wake up, you're in the stands of the WWE Arena. And everyone's telling you that's the truth. Those wrestlers are the truth. The announcers are speaking the truth. and everything going on is your reality. And the whole goal is to keep you in that arena no matter what. So yeah, is the internet like kind of like, did it kind of bite them in the ass a little bit? But it was worth it because they can now control everyone. So even though we can exchange information and knowledge, to them it's collateral damage, because now we're all in the WWE arena. So it doesn't, like, they don't give a shit as long as everyone stays there. The threat to them is people leaving that arena. And to do that is like kind of the nationalism thing, where you need to legally take control of that contract that your mother signed in. Birth certificates, like XG would know this, birth certificates, you only need a lady to sign it. You don't need like a father to sign a birth certificate, because your mom's the informant. Lineage and tribalism and nationalism all stem from your mother. Even like in the Jewish like ideology, like, you're only Jewish if you come from a Jewish lady, you know what I mean? Like,
isn't that crazy though? Like, because Judaism is a religion.
Yeah, it's a trip,
right? It's a religion. It's not an ethnic group. It's just not. It's just not. As much as they want to tell you it is not. It is it's like you have, like, I guess Mediterranean, would they be? You know, but the Israelis have the same genetic makeup as the Palestinians. So it's not in the genes. It's just not. No matter how much people want to tell you, you had Ben Shapiro getting back his like 40 in me or whatever that thing's called, 21 in me, and it's like what is the Jewish
Ashkenazi?
Ashkenazi. It's like, no, you're not Ashkenazi, dude. You're just making that up. You're talking out of your ass. As much as I mean, I have my weirdness with Ben Shapiro, but dude, you're lying. That's not true. You're talking out of your ass. There's no Jewish like genetics, right? I mean,
right.
So it's like the notion that was a giant psyop that was created before they knew there was all that stuff, right? Before they knew there was DNA and all that. So they'd be like, oh, unless your mom's Jewish, you're not Jewish. Well, that doesn't even make any sense. It really doesn't. It's a made up rule to make some people feel like shit.
100. It's the same as this thing. It's like, it's this made up thing of like, oh, well, your mom signed you into this contract. And like, it's like, wait, what? And until you legally take control over it and authenticate the document, you will forever be in the WWE arena. And one thing that drives me, like, irks me a lot, is these people who are like, oh, well, that's not my president, like, whatever, you're in the WWE arena. Yes, it is. And then other people are like, oh, well, I didn't vote. And I'm like, well, you're still in the arena. Like, you didn't rescind your voters registration. Like, you're still part of the whole system and the problem. You're just sitting there in the stands with your back turned to the show. Like, that doesn't make you any better. You haven't like left the whole thing. So you know, at some point you have to swallow the white pill and leave the arena. And the misconception I feel a lot of times is when you walk out of the arena, you walk into the forest. And then you're like, oh my God, I have no electricity. I have no Wi-Fi. I don't have a cell phone. Like, how am I going to live? And it's like, no, there's a whole thriving city that the WWE arena is in. And that's where they get all the people from. They're like, hey, come over here. Look at the show. Look at the show. And then you leave the city, the thriving city, and you go in there. And then they use fear mongering to keep you in your seat. They're like, oh, don't leave. Like, you leave and there's nothing out there for you. You'll never find happiness. You'll never leave. And then it's like, well, no, fucking, I know plenty of people who've left and they seem to be more happy than ever. And they actually have
totally agree.
Right?
I totally agree. The biggest lie of the Matrix was that people who unplugged from the system lived in miserable conditions. That was what they want you to think. Those who pull out of the Matrix, look how miserable they are. They live in some steel can and they eat mush which is total lie. It's a total lie. The real truth is that people pulled out of the system, lived on fucking the land, grew their own food, hunted their own food, raised families, and were super happy. And there 100. Is a giant psyop going on that living in the big city is where all the action is. Now, there is a lot of stuff going on. So if you have like FOMO, it really scratches that itch, right? I mean, like I go home all the time to my small town in upstate New York where I grew up. On a Wednesday night, that town's dead, right? It's dead. But it's like, look what you sacrifice to itch your FOMO, right? Like you live in congestion, bad air, bad food, traffic all the time, high prices on everything. You're completely away from nature. You're disconnecting from Mother Earth. And it seems really great because you're just running and gunning, you're partying, you're dating pretty people, you got a job you think is exciting at the moment, and you don't realize like you're completely and utterly disconnected from so much of like what makes where we live amazing, and it's done purposefully to get you to live in the big city. Okay, so you start to hear about overpopulation, climate control, everything's going to shit. It's people. We gotta tax you so you don't drive and you don't go outside and you stay home and you don't try to destroy the planet. And once you see this is what they're doing, you can see it happening in real time. You see it happening, and then people like us go on the social media, go, this is what they're going to do. And everyone's like, you're a crazy person. And then like 6 months later it happens. And then those people called you crazy are really quiet because their ego won't allow them to admit you told them this was going on. And they know you and they love you, but for some reason they trusted people they never met before. And it's this weird kind of cycle, bro.
It's weird. About the Matrix, this lady, I don't know how familiar you are with Sophia Stewart, the listeners, DuckDuckGo or Sophia Stewart, she wrote this thing. Remember, I'm looking at the whole puzzle, so I miss like the details and the pieces. I might like miss some dates and names or whatever. But Sophia Stewart, she wrote a movie called The Third Eye, I think it was. And basically Hollywood came in and stole this script from her and wrote the Terminator series as well as the Matrix series. She just won a federal case against Hollywood, and no one's paid any money to her. They all have all the rights. So those people actually didn't write that. It's like they twisted it so bad and threw all their symbology in it and like made it about like religion and Illuminati and like all this weird stuff. And so the Matrix, like I took a college course where we like studied the Matrix for a whole week, and like there's all this like profound stuff. And the most interesting part to me now that I am studying nationalism and everything is that the biggest takeaway from the Matrix, people, is that how do you get free from the Matrix? Is Morpheus was free before Neo. So hopefully there's some Matrix nerds there, but Morpheus was free before Neo. Morpheus freed Neo. Why is Morpheus freeing Neo? Because he needs more members of his tribe. Now, why is Morpheus free is the question. And that answer is he has a ship. He owns a ship. The Nebuchadnezzar, which they stem off is the book of Daniel, then the times and the political craziness or cosmic end time, whatever. Like the whole point is that Morpheus got a ship. He became a captain of his own ship. He took the time to fill the paperwork out, and now he's his own nation. He's his own ship with his own flag. He's doing commerce in the maritime law rules as his own being. So the Matrix, after all the like cool special effects and all the like hidden symbology, Morpheus is free because he got his own ship. So everyone listening, if you have children or you want to be free, you better get out the arena. And to do so, you get on a ship. You get on your own vessel. There's two vessels. The one you're in, that you're breathing in, that's free, that's yours. And then there's one that the U.S. corporation controls. It controls it through the social security number and your birth certificate. Remember, the live birth certificates get switched out at the state level and get sent in to the Department of Commerce. So when you take that initiative, I don't know but that was the interesting part of the Matrix. So the U.S. is
I agree with all that, dude. I totally agree with that. I never even thought about that. It's like I've always said, become a fucking captain of your own ship. It's like be your own pirate, have your own ship. And I always say, like, we like to once in a while mix it up with other people. Now he's like, what's the point of being a pirate if you can't raid a couple motherfuckers once in a while, right?
100.
So, I don't do it as much as I used to because I used to like to bang, but now but the point is, build your own pirate ship, man. Build
Yes.
your own pirate. And Adam Carolla, that came from Adam Carolla, man. He, a friend of mine was like, how come they can't cancel you? He's like, because there's nothing they can't. I own my own pirate ship. That's exactly
Nice.
fitting into what you're talking about.
Yes.
Build your own pirate ship. Terrence McKenna, you can say whatever you want. And there's all this talk that he might be CIA and all that shit. The whole point, but he said something profound. It's like, get out of the dying system, start your own system.
100. So in 1925, the U.S. incorporated through Articles of Incorporation. So anybody who has a business, who's incorporated or has an LLC is aware of the process. So the U.S. government at some point, 1925, does the Articles of Incorporation through Florida. So now what does that mean as a corporation? As a corporation, you are buying and selling at a large scale. That by definition is commerce. Now, human beings are commodities in the eyes of commerce. We are raw material that can be bought and sold. So in 1933, the US goes bankrupt. Like you can research all this. It goes bankrupt. The bank is no longer backed by gold. During the Trump era, I think for a few weeks it was, but then it flip-flopped and I don't keep up. As soon as things flip-flop, I stop paying attention because it's too muddy. It's been polluted. So the banks aren't backed by anything. They're backed by the full credit of the people. That's why it's called livestock, because when our moms signed that contract when we're born, with inflation, I think each human being is worth around $800,000. So the minute you're born, you're an asset to the corporation. You're not a liability, you're an asset. They put you in the green for $800K. So that's why if you notice, like, I'm gonna go weird, but like in the hood, in the ghetto, like people have kids and then they get, the tax refund, and to them it's worth having kids. And like the government ain't tripping, the US corporation ain't tripping on giving you 10 bands a year for 18 years. That's only like 18 bands out of 800. Shit, as a businessman, that sounds legit. So yeah. So when people talk like depopulation with the experimental shot, I get confused because I don't think they've understood or researched the fact that the US is incorporated and that they rely on commerce. Because if I owned 100 sheep and they're each worth $1, why the hell would I kill 50 of my sheep? Like, unless I can't control them and I'm going to lose 80 of them, then it makes sense. But then why would I kill the sheep that are obey my commands through the TV? Why would I off them? I want to off everyone else who's leaving the system. So like, it confuses me when people talk depopulation, because I don't think they know that this is a business. And as a business, you don't lose assets. You gain more assets. And then just little things like if you own an LLC, think of your LLC as your public vehicles, right? And then what you need to do eventually is get a foreign trust, because that's your private garage. And once you do that, the UCC, and you put your assets in your private foreign trust, now the military, the US corporation's military will actually, what's the word? They're actually going to recognize that you privately own things. Because remember, once she signs you in, if you think you own 100 acres in South Dakota, you don't. If you think you own your house in Beverly Hills, you don't, unless it's in a foreign trust. And it can't be a domestic trust, because according to federal law, domestic trusts are still ran by the US corporation. So the 15 USC 1602 says there's two kinds of people. There is natural people, the one we're naturally in this vessel breathing, and there's artificial, which is a corporation, which is your straw man. That's why, like, they've talked about this. The water words are so important. Like a current, the current in the water is your, like, electric being, your current, your currency, right? Liquid form of cash. You have the flow, the movement of the direction of water, like cash flow. You have your liquid assets. And then you get into like things like, you get into things like the more is a water term. More means to secure your boat. And at the same time, more means Aboriginal people. And at the same time, by the law, definition of law, go and look, by law, it is an officer in the Isle of Man who summons the courts for several sheetings. So the thing is, they twist the words all the time. So when I say more is Aboriginal people, it's so for the sake of commerce, when you make your ship and you sign those papers, you want to identify as as an Aboriginal person. And then people tell me all the time, like, oh yeah, they do the Native Americans dirty all the time. I'm like, yo, Native American is a federal classification passed down by the US corporation. So why would you want to be classified by the same thing you're trying to get out of? So there's a huge difference between checking the box of Native American and checking Aboriginal box. So once you do that, by definition, Native means natural born subject or citizen. So when you check that box, you're still part of the corporation. You're an asset. So I hate to be like that guy, like the black pill guy, but if you don't do this, all those people who walk around saying, hey, I'm a sovereign being, the government can't tell me what to do, legally, technically, unless you've authenticated that paper and taken control of your straw man, they can do whatever they want to you. They can do whatever you want to. Okay,
how do we do this? This is what I want to get into. This is so crazy. You're hitting on so many incredible points. I mean, like, you really just opened my eyes to what computers are, dude. And that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
So from a little crazy. So from black pill, there's always gonna be light, right? So you gotta eat the damn black pill and be like, oh my god, and then you're like, how do I fix this? The white pill. And it's important that, do your own research. By 100 means do your own research, really look into things, because this is actual judicial process that you put in your signature on, and there are repercussions, right? That, like, you're leaving the arena. They don't like that. They don't like you. So just be aware of this, look into it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put it off on the list of things to do, though, because this is like one of the bigger things to do by all means. So the minute you're born, right? And so again, the water word, birth means come into dock. So I've heard other people on the show talk about it. They're the experts. They're the ones I got these puzzle pieces from. Birth means comes into dock. And so when you come into dock, you're leaving water onto land. So when you leave your mother, you come out of water, right? The water breaks, you come in, you're being birthed. So now there needs to be some kind of like manifest, right? When you come to the dock, what cargo are you holding? How many people are on your ship? This and that, like your foreign territory, we need to know. So that's when everything's written in all capitals, right? So your birth certificate, not your live birth certificate, but your birth certificate's written in all capitals. So according to grammar and spelling, when you write that means you're a corporation, you're a dead entity, you have no life in you. So that's why proper nouns like your name, capital letter, lowercase, 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 right? That signifies that you're a god, you're your own divine being, you are free, you're that person when you spell your name like that. Now, I taught for 10 years in high school, and I noticed that they don't teach cursive no more, and most of the kids, I would say 95% of the kids nowadays can't sign their name, and when they do, they print their name. So I wouldn't be too shocked in the next 10 years if they start teaching children to print their name in all capitals for their signature, because now what they're doing is, like, they're reinforcing the fact that they're a dead entity by writing all capitals as they are.
Okay, say that again with the capital and the lowercase one more time.
So English grammar, proper names start with a capital letter, then go lowercase, right? So capital S, A, lowercase a, M, M, Y. Sweet Sammy T, that's how you spell it. That's you. You are a living, breathing, divine being. You're going to manifest all your dreams. You're like, you the fucking man. Now, the problem is when you start spelling your name, capital S-A-M-M-Y, all capitals, which is how your birth certificate is spelled. Now you're recognizing yourself as a straw man, as a corporation created by the government. So that vessel is empty. That vessel is only there to make profit. You are now just a commodity in the eyes of the US corporation. So interesting. So like words are spells, you journal, you say your manifestations out loud. It's important that when we do proper nouns that we spell them correctly. You know what I mean? Because it has weight, it has power. And the mind is a powerful thing. So if you don't believe that, it's whatever. It doesn't really affect you. Now, if you believe that wholeheartedly and write it with that intention, guess what? You're going to vibrate that much higher. You're going to glow that much. You're going to float around the city. You know what I mean? So from there, you have to, so that's kind of like just the idea of that, like the words are important, your birth They give you the live birth certificate. It gets switched to the birth. So what you need to do now is look at every state is different, right? So what happens, I keep going on tangents. Fuck, I'm sorry. But so basically, I know what the 10th Amendment says, right? I get it, but it's not like what people understand it, what it to be. So basically, let's look, here's another analogy. Like PepsiCo is the US corporation, PepsiCo. They run it. And now the state of California is, I don't know the Nabisco, right? I hope these companies are right. Nabisco. So Nabisco is a subsidiary of PepsiCo. California is a subsidiary of the US corporation, and LA County is like the Chewy natural bars of Nabisco. So even though the Chewy bars one day say, hey, guess what? We're done using corn syrup because it's bad for people, and we're done using sugar. We're going to use honey because we've been studying Rudolf Steiner, and honey is a way to untether yourself from the petri dish so you can ascend, because if you keep eating all this other trash, you're never going to want to leave. So they're like, we're going to do this because our new CEO is a Rudolf Steiner fanatic, and we're going to eat honey from now on. And you know what? California, Nabisco says, whoa, hell no, because PepsiCo is going to come down my throat if you do that. And so they're going to stop it. And by chance, let's say California jumps on board, or Nabisco's like, yeah, great idea, honey. PepsiCo is going to come in and say, dude, we have too much stock, too much assets, too much money in corn syrup and high fructose syrup for you to do this. And plus, we don't want no one to ascend. So we're going to shut it down. So even though the 10th Amendment says Nabisco and Chewy can do what they want, they can't. As we've seen in 1996, if you were here in Cali in 96, we voted for weed to be chill. And then guess what? Everyone's doors got kicked in. So people who tell me, oh, states' rights, I get that. I'm with that, but that's not how a business works. If I'm the head CEO of a business and there's subsidiaries under me, you guys don't call shots. I do. I run this pirate ship. So if there's decks to the pirate ship, you don't get to run your little deck. Not like you can until I step in. Then you do what I say, and that's the US corporation, and we've seen it. And so this whole states' rights versus federal rights is more division and distraction, because once you get away from federal law will always supersede state law. Always. That's why nothing at the end of the day matters unless it's filed in Supreme Court, because all these other things are kangaroo courts. Look up the definition. Your city court, your state court, your county court, those are all kangaroo courts. They're not even real, because you can appeal it and take it to the Supreme Court every time. So now you have the US Corp, the state, and the country, the city, or the county, the city. So what you need to do is go to PepsiCo, and that's who you file with. But at the same time, since you are in Nabisco, you got to file with the state. So for me, I have to file with Sacramento. I have to file with Washington, D.C. And as the listeners know, Washington, D.C. is not even like part of this, right? Just like the IRS ain't part of it. IRS.gov, it's not government. NASA.gov, it's not government. I firmly believe the IRS is only here to track what each person is worth at birth. That's why we have an $800,000 number for the asset, because the IRS is like, oh, this person generated this much revenue for the US corporation from birth till death. We get all those numbers, we find the average. That's what each human being is worth. Some make 5 Bs, some make 20,000 all their life. It doesn't matter. We average it out. 800K is what a human being is worth. That's why, like, you have to take a cert and go through this process, the judicial process. This is another weird thing. The US government, the US corporation has forms that you can fill out and send in to do this. So if this isn't a thing, then why are there forms? Why do I have to pay $10 to send this in if that's a thing to do? Going on.
So if we want to break out of the system, right?
Yes.
No longer participate in the WWE. You are saying we file for nationalist?
There's different, so there are 4, according to what I understand, there's 4 levels of citizenship. You have your illegal alien, you have your green card holder, you have your citizen, and then you have your nationalist. And look, they're so smart, right? Like they get like all levels. Everyone wants to be at that 3rd level. Like they want all the people with green cards to pass the test, wave the little flag. Like it's very strange to me, everything. So the idea is you can take 2 routes at that level. You can become a nationalist of the Americas. It depends where you're born too, because where you're born, you have power in that land. Like that land is yours, right?
What is a nationalist?
So a nationalist is, you can be a nationalist of the Americas, right? So basically that's your nation. So as you were saying earlier with like the DNA and all that, like that's very like it's your tribe. So you now affiliate yourself instead of with the US corporation, you affiliate yourself with your nation. So you can create your own nation. You can create Sweet Sammy T Nation, and Johnny can join, and XG can join, and you guys make all the rules, like all the rules. They don't even have to agree with the federal rules or state rules or laws or any of these things. You're your own nation. So that's what it is. A nationalist is someone who is like tied to their own nation, that has their own pirate ship, that has their own flag and family crest.
I can create my own nation within the United States.
It's going to be, no, because this land isn't owned by the U.S. corporation. This land was stolen. The U.S. corporation jacked this land from the Aboriginal people, the actual Indians, which now they call Native Americans, but the Indians were here. So if somehow you are tied to that or were born here or your children were born here, then you are actually in these lands. These lands, you own more of these lands than the U.S. corporation does. So you take the nation, and then that's what they kind of did with Alaska in some sense. And they've done with some of these tribes, Native American tribes, have caught on. And they're like, fuck your casinos. We're going to actually like be free of this shit. Like, you're not tricking us anymore. And they got lawyers. This shit takes lawyers, even though lawyers are like kind of scummy. Like that's how they've set up the system. Like, you can't just walk out the arena. You got to get like all your papers in a fair.
I'm trying to understand this. So I can create a nation within this nation in which I am ruled by myself by applying for nationalism.
Kind of. You're not
nationalist.
You're going to leave the U.S. corporation. It's not a nation. So you're technically leaving your corporate. You're both going to have control of the asset. So that birth certificate, that social security number, you are now also going to have control of it. The U.S. corporation isn't going to alleviate that control, but you will also now have control of it. With that control, you can now, have a nation that resides in the Americas, within what the U.S. corporation calls theirs. You can now have that. And you would build your own flag. You would create your own family crest. You know what I mean? You would create everything you do. And then now you're not tied. And then what's so nice about that, people ask me all the time, like, okay, well, what's the difference in your everyday life? It's like, well, when someone talks to me about any politics, like, it doesn't concern me because you're part of the US corporation. You're in the WWE Arena with your sign, cheering, crying, and loving all the drama that's going on. And I'm not there. So
what about taxes?
Taxes are an interesting thing because there's two types. I think people misconstrue two types of things. One is tax evasion, where you say like, I'm not paying you, then you're going to get screwed. Like, they're going to come after you. And then like, there's the other one that these high ranking businesses, these CEOs do, where at the end of the year, they've generated zero revenue, right? They've made $200,000 in revenue and profit, and then they push it off to a subsidiary company out of the country that doesn't get taxed. So on their actual tax form, they've made $0 in profit. And what's a taxation of $0? $0. So that's the two coins that they kind of gray. So people always get confused, as they think when you do that, that's tax evasion. But if you are a smart businessman and you make X amount in profit a year, there's a way to loophole that out of the taxation system, and then you pay $0.
But what I'm not understanding is, if you've become autonomous, why would you owe the government, the United States government, anything in tax, the corporation, and anything in tax?
I'm still studying all that because that's like, it's the only thing I know is the loophole to avoid, like not avoid, but to pay the least amount. Okay. And as far as not partaking in that, I'm not sure, because that's a powerful group of like weird things that's going on, to where they like blacklist people, they ruin people's lives. You know what I mean? They get like,
I feel, Johnny, like if you just do business in the United States, you have to pay some sort of tax, regardless of, like, if you
but what about like property tax? Well, if your house is on, your autonomous zone that you've established for yourself, why would you ever have to pay property tax again?
You wouldn't. So property tax is no longer a thing. I'm talking like, so if you're doing business right now, we're talking like commerce again. When I interact business with the US corporation business, I have to pay tax because we're both doing business. Now, when it comes to like my fishing license, my hunting license, property tax, death tax, all that stuff, yeah, that no longer applies because they're gonna get a huge court case, which they'll lose if they infringe on your constitutional like national rights like that. But for sales tax, yeah, again, you're doing business with that company, so you're going to have to pay that. So anytime you're engaging when you engage in commerce with another commerce entity, you're going to pay taxes. Now, if you, like you said, have your own property and the city or state or somebody comes and says you owe this money, if you take the right steps and you inform the right people and send the right letters, that letter will never come again. That letter will never come again. They will let you be, because it's yours. Now, again, it's a process. You can't just tell the guy who comes and sends you a letter. You can't just send it back and say, hey, I'm not going to pay this because I'm a nationalist or
Reminds me of that episode of The Office where Michael Scott just screams, I declare bankruptcy, and you're just expecting the government to now. So I see it. It sounds quite challenging.
It is. So how do you begin this process?
I mean, the internet's our friend, right? Is there, even though they brought it in to monitor us and collect data and control us and to keep us divided at the same time, it does have its perks for us. So anyone with a cell phone, which is most people and most children, just really look in and don't fall for the distraction, right? Like when you type in nationalism, you're going to get politics, you're going to get Trump stuff and white supremacy stuff. And then of course people want to click on that because they want to like feel something. They want to be energized by the WWE Arena. And it's like, scroll past that, find the one that like resonates with what we're talking about here, and then start looking into that. And like, that's about like the only way, because otherwise they don't want you to leave the arena. They're not going to make it easy. And most of the time when you fill this paperwork out, like the people who work at the court, remember, don't know this. So they're going to look at you like, I don't know what this form is. I'm not going to mail it in, or, we don't take this form here. They don't know. They're just doing what their boss told them. You know what I mean? So it's like the whole process is annoying. At the end of the day, though, I think it's the only thing that's really white pill. Because
where would I go to? I'm trying to go. I'm even on DuckDuckGo trying to find, where do you find this to start this? Like, what am I Googling? How to become a nationalist?
This would be a great thing to add to your Telegram. Once you find these links, just to share them with people, you should add that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I don't know. What am I Googling specifically, or what am I saying? How to be?
I got you. So for most people, because they don't want to go to rabbit hole on this, like you can go to LegalZoom.com. They have a course, which is kind of overpriced, but they will get your affairs in order. They will they will do it for you for a hefty price. They will create a foreign trust for you. From this foreign trust, now you're able to put your assets in. Remember, becoming a nationalist isn't the only thing you got to check on this box. You got to create a foreign trust. You have to create a religious assembly. You got to do like a lot of things to become free. And that's why I think most people don't do it, because they rather just fucking sit in the arena and hear what the WWE commentators tell them how to feel, and waiting for, so-and-so to jump under the ropes and hit them with the chair. So there's a lot to go, but I would start with
how to become a nationalist. Here we go.
There we go.
And then regardless of which way, is always in sister countries. Great. Oh no. Okay. That wasn't real. That was,
is this how related to this would you say is how related would you say is this is to the sovereign citizen movement?
That's like everything they do, right, is like the truth, and then they dilute it and they just like chum it with blood so the sharks come, so you can't really see. So this is that's the chum. The sovereign thing is the chum. I'm on YouTube and I see this guy, he's like, oh, I have my own nation, and he's like it's actually like they're clowning him. They're like making him a spectacle, and people look at it and laugh and are like, oh, what a dumbass. He thinks he has his own nation and his own language, and it's like they're making fun of it. They want you to be like, oh, that ain't real. And then there's this other kid who goes to the court and he's like, I'm not going through the metal detector because that's an illegal search and seizure. He knows all his stuff. He's saying it right, but he hasn't asserted the documents. And at the end of the YouTube clip, they like tase him in the courtroom. And it's like, again, people are like, oh, what an idiot. He thought he was sovereign and above the law. And it's like, so it's true, but they're going to like twist it like they do everything. So it becomes confusing. And then at the end of the day, most of the time, if we're, plugged into the matrix, you're going to pick what they kind of tell you, which is, oh, that's a joke. That's not something worth my time. I have bigger pressing issues like COVID and the holidays and Christmas shopping and Black Friday and what I'm going to wear to Thanksgiving and fucking blah, 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 like all this other like unpressing shit that they make feel important. But yes, that is a huge thing that I feel is just a distraction point, but it's the same shit. Yeah, it's what it is.
So you're saying you got to become a nationalist, start a foreign trust, and start a religious
assembly.
Church?
Yes. And then, okay, for the church, when you start your church, I don't know why I know I'm a church, but when you start the church,
I don't either.
Do not
should
check,
have a church.
Do not check the tax box where it's like, hey, do you want to be like tax exempt? You check that box is the same as when the Native Americans check the Native American box instead of the Aboriginal box. I'm sure these aren't exactly what the boxes say or where they're at, but like generally like, so when you start the church, they're going to give you that chance. Hey, check the tax exemption box. So all those churches we saw during this scandemic that were like, got shut down. Guess what? I guarantee that they check that box, which means, hey, you are part of the US corporation. So if the US corporation says shut down, you're going to have to. Now, if you didn't check that box, you didn't see those churches on the news because they were still doing their thing. They were still practicing what they practiced and no one get paid any mind to them. They're only worried about what they control, their assets. They're not worried about, that's like if as a business owner, I have like 5 trucks, right, for delivery service. And I own 5 trucks. I don't care what the other guys do with their trucks. Like I might want an idea to like better my business, but I don't like physically care and want to intervene with them. So they're only concerned with their assets, not like those. So once you don't check that box, your church is kind of like out of that arena. And then you get the whole religious exemption. When people say that, I don't think they understand that if your church has checked that box, you're not religiously exempt from anything. You know what I mean? People run around, I'm sovereign, I'm religious exempt, I'm constitutionally exempt. And it's like, if you really break down, the Constitution was the start of like the silliness. Like, why do you need to tell me that I can say what I want to say? Like, that's a given. And who signed this? Why am I still in a contractual agreement with people that I've never met? This is more mind-blowing contracts that we're signed into that we have no idea of what has been signed, and we have to oblige to them. It's weird.
I mean, as crazy as this sounds, I mean, through that vaccine right now, you can get religiously exempt from it just from a guy that signed it who did what? Just because he's a priest?
Yeah.
This guy that gave him like, who is this guy who told you like, oh, this guy that just believes in God, and the guy tells you don't have to take the vaccine? Like, why are we listening to these people and letting them tell you like if you can take it or not?
100%. And it's weird because California, as we know, if you live in Cali, I know you've researched this, like Cali is the only state that doesn't allow constitutional, philosophical, or religious exemptions. And we all know that Cali and New York are the testing grounds of things. Cali and New York were like the first states where they're like, oh, we're not going to ship you ammo to your house. Like, what do you mean you're not going to ship me ammunition to my house? Like, boom, testing grounds. Same with like the weird scandemic shit. Like New York and Cali are always testing grounds. So the fact that Cali is one that has those 3 exemptions that you can't do, and then these other states, like you said, you have some weirdo, most likely a creep, sign some paper. Like, it's so, I don't know, it's all so WWE. Like it's better just to walk away and create your own thing. That way you don't have to deal with the flip-floppy, the mental gymnastics in every situation is so tiring. Like it, and to keep up with it is exhausting spiritually, mentally, physically. Like it'll break you. It'll break everyone I know who's followed some type of truth has become depressed. You know what I mean? Like, damn, this sucks. Like they're kidnapping kids. Like the kids that go missing in forests aren't even calculated in the number of missing children. Like why is there so many weird gray areas of this? And it just like, you know, it eventually led me to like, hey, how can I secure my tribe? If I buy 100 acres, how do I know the military ain't gonna come in with some DARPA weapons and fry our brains? Like, how do I prevent that? And it's like, and then eventually this is what it's led to. Like, do this and they're gonna skip your 100 acres. They got plenty of other acres to control. So
you have to help me. You got to send me some links on where I could look into this, because I'm trying to look into it. I can't find it right now, which is probably because they don't want you to find it.
yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it's not the easiest process, and most people will look into it like you did, and within like seconds they're like, I'm over it. And that's kind of what they want.
I know.
It's
That's
like,
why I'm trying
don't
to
give
figure
up.
out.
Don't give up. Yeah, yeah.
You're
I'll send you some stuff.
Speaking of missing kids, did you guys hear that China did a consensus and it just came out and they can't account for 12 million children? 12 million children
That's
that
insane.
were registered with the consensus
Census.
11 years ago cannot be accounted for.
It's insane. It's insane.
12 million?
12 million.
Camps. Labor camps. It has to be.
I mean, I
something
get it.
like
You lose a kid here and there in Walmart. It happens. But 12 million?
Yeah, 12 million, dude. That's a crazy ass thing. You lose
That's
a kid in
unbelievable.
Walmart. They need Cart Dark. That's who they need, dude.
That guy's the best. He went on Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil tore him a new asshole. It was great.
Oh, you went down the rabbit hole, huh, Johnny?
Oh, deep, brother. Deep.
Well, dude, JT, this is great. I'm going to see if anybody can find links to this. Please send me, because if it sounds interesting, and I know there's some stuff to it, you just got to find the link so you can click it and see what is the process to become sovereign.
Yes.
There is a process. You can
Yes.
buy back your birth certificate.
Yes. 100% for sure.
If there's any lawyers out there who are actual lawyers, please hit me up. Okay. If I said doctors, voodoo doctors are going to show up. Dr. Love is going to show up. But if you're an actual lawyer and you think you know some information on this, let me know. I'm dying to look deeper into this, because I do believe there are. See, here's my whole thing, right? I think you could do all this stuff, and as long as you don't make too much of noise, they'll let you go. But once you start, like, we're starting a city where everybody's naked and can smoke meth all the time, and then it just starts getting really out of control, they're going to come in and pound the shit out of that. Or if you're sitting there telling everybody about it all the time, they're going to pound the shit out of you. But if you just sign this, do this, and then mind your business, I think there's a way to operate like that.
Can you buy somebody else's? Like, let's say Sam found a way to buy his. Can he buy his daughter's where it's like she's out the game too, or it has to be you?
I think I could buy back I think I buy their certificates back. And believe me, I've been already thinking about that. I'm going to find a lawyer. If anyone knows how to do that, hit me up. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to get my kids out of the matrix, no matter what the mom says. I'm going to go up to our children are no longer part of the matrix. What'd you do? They're not part of the matrix. They're sovereign beings. What the fuck? Why you got to run up on
No,
me?
I have a question. If you do all this now, do you forfeit Social Security and the other social programs that the government offers?
No, because since you're still going to be an asset of the U.S. corporation, they're not going to relinquish the $800K that they put on their books.
Okay.
So you still get, I think you even get like more money, because now you're like in this different bracket of like, now we're like on the same playing field. You know what I mean? It's like when CEOs have dinner together, they both eat bomb ass bougie food. Like, so it's kind of the same deal. They're like, oh, this guy's a big dog, you know, like, so we're gonna, we'll cut you a little, but yeah, you don't get kicked out of anything. You're still right. You don't give up your social security number. You just take control of it. Like, you don't give up your live birth certificate or birth certificate. You're just taking control of these things. And as of right now, since our mom signed us in, we're not in control. So the idea is to control those. So every time I talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm a big dog, I got like 10 Bs in the bank and I own an island and whoop-de whoop whoop. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's all in a foreign trust controlled by religious assembly. Like, they're like, oh no, like, what's all that? I'm like, you're not a big dog, bro. You're not like, you just somebody playing the game, like literally playing their game to a T. Like you take the vacations, you stay in the fancy hotels, you got a jet, you got the ladies, you got whatever. Like you live in the Matrix dream. But again, if it's a dream, that means you sleeping. You know what I mean? Like you have to rise up. You gotta, again, clean your house. Like yoga is amazing. Like Katona yoga, please, listeners, look up Katona yoga. Like clean your house. You clean your house, and none of this, like nothing. There's no road rage. There's no politics and sports and religion. Don't get you like all weird and angry, and like it's just, life's better when you start to clean your own house and then take control of what's rightfully yours. And then so you don't get kicked out of that thing.
One more quick question. If you were to have a child, what's the move? Is the move not to even register your kid with the government? I mean, ideally, what would you do?
Can you do that?
A home birth, and you just don't tell anybody about it? How does that work?
I mean, yeah, ideally you would do home birth. Okay, remember, they issue a live birth certificate. They do that, but the hospital sends that to the state, which then reinstate a different one. So if you get your ducats right and you play your part right, you can I mean, I want to go to hospitals where people die, so I don't know about having a child there or birthing a baby there, but if you did do that and you had your paperwork right, I'm sure you could keep the live birth certificate. Ideally, yeah, you would want to do something at the crib with like a midwife and, water and, more natural. You remember the occult shit? These occult people believe what they do. So for us to like step away from that, I guarantee you all these occult people birth their children into water, not at a hospital. You know what I mean? And then they're over here like, oh, put your legs up on this metal shit and pop out a kid. Like like, it's so different than what they do. So yeah, you would want to do that. And just so your kid doesn't, I mean, eventually your kid's going to have to do it anyways. But as a parent, I'm not a parent, but if you were a parent, I'm sure you love your children to death. You would do anything for them. So it's like, hey, look into this, because this is actually super big part of where their livelihood can take them. You know what I mean? And then worst case scenarios, real black pill shit. If the government really like comes down on people and says, hey, we're going to put you in camps and we're going to make you wear gold stars to go into restaurants. Like you definitely want to protect your children from that. And if you can, you should. And I think it's doable through this.
Man, there's a lot of stuff we didn't get into with you, dude. Whole lot of stuff.
All good. It's all good. I'm all about
we
this.
Sit there forever, dude. We could sit there for a long time, man. JT, you came, you crushed. I think it's interesting stuff. I have to sit down and figure out the links so people can look into it. And if you can find some links for me, email me them as soon as possible. I'd love to include them so people could look into it themselves. But I do believe there is ways of doing all of this. And here's the whole thing, man. It's if these really rich people could do it, you could do it. It just takes time. And if the Paradise Papers and the Panama Papers all came out, they tell us anything, there's a way to get out of the whole system. You just got to figure it out. They're smart enough. They have accountants to do that. When people are like, tax the rich, I'm like, you're not taxing the rich, because we see corporations don't pay taxes, which, listen, I don't think the key is to get rich people to pay taxes. I think the key is to get less poor, middle and poor class than to pay less taxes. That's what I think. I couldn't give a shit. I'm jealous of Jeff Bezos when he finds out a way not to pay taxes. Tell me how to do it, bald man. I'd like to learn that too. I'd like to not pay taxes. Unfortunately, I got to play this game because that's the one way they'll throw you right in jail. There's it's not a part of the United States, but they have no problems with calling the cops and throwing you in fucking jail. You can't fuck around with that shit. You got to dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure everything's put into a proper place. And then you have to hope you get a judge that honors the law. Because we've also seen we're living in somewhat of a banana republic where these judges don't follow the law. So we're in weird places right now with that. But I think all this is possible. I do love the idea of, because you know what, man, I've been talking a lot about how I think, because I'm podcasting so much and have my earphones in all the time, it's fucking with my juju, bro, my energy. I'm always around this computer all the time.
You're good. As long as if you do the Bluetooth thing, just put one in. Just don't put both of those things
I
in
can't
your ear
do
and you're
Bluetooth,
good.
man. It gives me headaches, dude. My ears are very
Yeah.
sensitive, so I have to pick and choose exactly what I use. But I am sensitive to it. At night now, I'm turning off my Wi-Fi and my router.
As I said on the other podcast, Sam, like you're a voice of the resistance, bro. You're like at the exit of the WWE Arena shouting over all the commentators and wrestlers telling, hey, get the fuck out of there. It's like, it's better over here. You know what I mean? So you're in the danger zone, bro. You're in the
highway, bro.
zone. Yeah, you're going to get salt thrown on you. They're going to hit you with all this weird shit that you're going to have to deal with during your life. But, you know, that's the role you chose. Like, you are the voice of the resistance. And I'm sure me and the rest of the swarm appreciate you highly for that, as well as XG and Johnny, because they're part of your little tribe. You know, they're the crew on your pirate ship. And, you know, you keep doing it, bro. You keep standing at the exit and yelling. And then, like I said, one day, you know, step out. Like you yelled enough, you know what I mean? You brought attention to all those that need it. So, you know, just you know, you're in the trenches, bro. There's gonna be some shrapnel, there's gonna be some ammo, there's gonna be like hot shells falling on your neck, but it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Johnny, will you jump in front of the ammo coming at me?
I don't know about that.
Johnny, will you take a bullet for me, bro?
No, probably not. No.
Come on, bro.
Maybe like in the fleshy part of the thigh, maybe something like that. But nothing center mass. Nothing
Johnny,
in the center mass.
me, bro.
You do that, Johnny, I got your back, you're done being an intern. If you take a bullet, that's it.
Okay.
You'll be just above intern, dude.
Uh-huh.
Well, dude, JT, thank you for coming on. It was a great podcast. I always enjoyed talking to you. It looks like if everything goes according to plan, January 29th, we'll be doing another really big tinfoil hat in Long Beach. So I'd love for you to come down, maybe jump on the panel with us.
Oh, I'd be honored. I know. If not, I'll be there. I'm gonna be in the stands supporting. You know, I support everyone who is in the resistance, and especially Sweet Sammy T. You know what I mean?
Thank
You're the
you,
man,
bro.
You're the fucking
Johnny,
man,
you're
bro.
out.
Period.
JT, you're in.
You're the fucking man, bro. Period. So
thank you, man. I need more people on the team that appreciate me. Okay, don't take me for granted. Hey,
yeah, it's funny. All those people that appreciate you like that, they don't know you that well. It seems.
Oh, come on. He knows me well. Hey, listen, JT, can you tell them where they can find you?
Nowhere really, but I am on the gram. Let's Heroic Dose.
Good for
Hit me
you.
up. Type
for you, dude.
Let's talk psychedelics. Let's talk nationalism. Let's talk jiu-jitsu, whatever's. And all my people who know anything about the T1 project, please share your notes with me. And
what was it again? What was your Instagram?
Let's Heroic Dose.
Let's Heroic Dose. Okay.
Heroic. What's the number?
5 dried grams. That's what Bill Hicks always said.
Yeah, that's like outdated. You know what I mean? With
that was his line.
inflation.
Yeah.
Why? What's it now?
I mean, I got a book on it. You know what I mean? It's available. But now it's more. I feel like more. It doesn't really matter the dosage because there's so much manipulation in the world with like the electromagnetic chemtrails, GMO food. You know what I mean? All the division, distraction. That like, as long as your antenna is good, it doesn't really matter the dose. But yeah, 5 is the standard. But shit, if you come party with me and my tribe, like you ain't gonna eat for a week, and then we're gonna give you like 14 grams. See what you really about. See if you're down to join the pirate ship. You know, some berserker shit, and if not, like kick rocks. You know what I mean? Like we only taking the elite of the resistance here. So you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, 5 to 14, I would say. Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Well, JT, thanks for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. And yeah, man, we'll do it again soon.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.